Welcome back to the channel, my little piglets, the place where we dip our moist snouts into the trough of current affairs and politics. Today, I'd like for you, my fellow piglets, to ponder about the BBC reporting of the Singapore Airlines flight that suffered severe turbulence earlier this week. Remember to bang a trotter on the subscribe, a trotter on the like, and OINK to your heart's content in the comment section below. Now then, my little piglets, let's go. A British passenger has tragically died from a heart attack following intense air turbulence on a Singapore Airlines flight from London to Singapore, which was forced to divert to Bangkok. For those of you who don't know, Singapore's the place where the British Army put the guns in the wrong direction, and those little Japanese chaps pretty much took over the whole peninsula riding bicycles and on light tanks. Over 30 people sustained injuries, primarily because they were not wearing seatbelts during the harrowing incident. It is disgraceful to think how many people think it's 100% feasible to sit on an aircraft with the seatbelt on the whole time. What are my piglets to do? Defecate in the seat? Get shite all over their tiny little piglety tails? Of course, it's absolutely ridiculous. I, for one, am surprised that an aircraft that holds well over 200 people only had that amount of injuries. But of course, that doesn't take away from the tragedy of the situation. Air travel is always susceptible to sudden turbulence, but the BBC, predictably, points to climate change as the underlying cause of this chaos. Briton Andrew Davis described awful screaming and what sounded like a thud in the initial moments of the incident. The thing I remember most is seeing objects and things flying through the air. I was covered in coffee. It was incredibly severe turbulence. I'm surprised it was just coffee. If I'm on a long-haul flight with one of my fellow chows, I always make sure that we have delicious lashings of alcohol-y goodness to see us along our way. Another passenger reported that the aircraft suddenly started tilting up and shaking. I started bracing for what was happening, and very suddenly there was a very dramatic drop, so everyone seated and not wearing a seatbelt was launched immediately into the ceiling, said 28-year-old student Dasvan Azmir to Reuters. Some people hit their heads on the baggage cabins overhead and dented it. They hit the places where the lights and masks are and broke straight through it, he added. Thai authorities promptly dispatched ambulances and emergency teams to Suvarnabhumi Airport. Try saying that after a couple of sherbets, piglets. Singapore's Transport Minister, Chee Hong Tat, expressed his condolences and promised governmental assistance to passengers and their families. I am deeply saddened to learn about the incident on board Singapore Airlines flight SQ321 from London Heathrow to Singapore, he stated on Facebook. I mean, piglets, why Facebook? Who knows? The BBC News reports conveniently included a link to another article titled "Flight Turbulence Increasing as Planet Heats Up," reinforcing the narrative that climate change is to blame. The report concludes with a note, "Research has shown that climate change will make severe turbulence more likely in the future." However, no link is provided to this research, which remains a favourite tactic of climate alarmism. Remember, piglets, when it's burning hot, it's climate change. When it's cold and pissing down with rain in my pigsty, it's weather. Chris Morrison of the Daily Skeptic directed readers last year to another supposed smoking gun, a Reading University professor accused of deliberately exaggerating the effects of climate change, whose claims Morrison debunked on the spot. Well done, my man. The BBC's report is a prime example of lazy journalism, making it worth a read, if only to witness the extent of their indolence. So, what do you think of that then, my little piglets? I must say, some of the subjects that we cover here over at Fat Pig Views go so much against the grain that I do not hold much hope for this little channel ever being monetized by the gods of YouTube. Therefore, we have set up our own locals community where you can support the channel and the associated costs, like hiring out this pigsty of a studio here. Please click on the link to our locals below. It's a very small amount of money and will go a long way for feeding me and my sex-starved sound. Until next time, my little piglets, toodle pip and trotters up.